Today we're taking a look at Fender's American Professional Classic Stratocaster. In my opinion, every serious guitarist needs at least one Strat. I have two and have owned half a dozen more, but I'm talking about serious guitar players who've made this most versatile of electric guitars their own, like Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, Buddy Guy, Richard Thompson, Bonnie Raitt. And that's just scratching the surface of classic players. There's always a new generation learning the ins and outs of this Swiss Army knife of guitars. Fender has produced a lot of iterations of the Stratocaster. The American Pro Classic line introduces a high-value, vintage-inspired version that is one of the most affordable options if you're looking for a new American-made Strat. Let's orient ourselves among the different lines in Fender's universe because there are enough of them that it can be a little confusing at first. Everything generally fits into good, better, and best build quality levels, and their prices reflect that. And at each level, there are a few different flavors, from more vintage spec to more modern. Fender's entry level is the Standard series, then you jump up to the Made in Mexico Player 2 series and the Ventura 2 series. From there, you step up into the American-made Fenders with this American Professional Classic series and the 70s-inspired American Performer series. Continuing up the line of American-made Fenders, you can go for the American Professional 2, American Ultra 2, American Vintage 2, and finally the American Ultra Luxe series. Enough of that. Let's take a closer look at this Strat. Compared directly to the American Performer and the American Professional 2 Stratocasters, this new American Pro Classic Strat leans a bit more into the vintage styling with some cool finishes like this one in 3-color sunburst, vintage style tuners, and 6-screw tremolo bridge, and the Coastline's 57 pickups. It's got an alder body, which is a wood that Fender's been using since very early days, and it comes in 6 durable gloss urethane finishes: this beautiful burst, plus faded Dakota red, faded Lake Placid blue, faded black, faded Fire Mist gold, and faded Sherwood green metallic. The maple neck features a modern C shape that fits comfortably in my hand and has a warm vintage tint and smooth satin urethane finish that feels really nice as you move your fret hand up and down the neck. And it's secured to the body with a traditional 4-bolt neck plate with the Fender logo on it. The fretboard is going to be either rosewood on the faded black, Dakota red, and Sherwood metallic green models, and maple on the other 3 colors. Most seasoned Fender players will tell you that the rosewood boards will impart a slightly warmer tone and the maple boards sound snappier. I would say that's something you as a player might notice, but that it would be hard to discern in a blind listening test. The fretboard uses a 9.5-inch radius with 22 medium jumbo frets, which invites easier string bends and single note runs than Fender's tighter vintage 7.25-inch radius, and it's got a synthetic bone nut that lets the strings move smoothly through its slots and has a comfy but spacious 1.685-inch width. And you access the truss rod at the headstock, which means you don't have to take the neck off to adjust the relief like you do on true vintage spec models. The hardware is classic for that glassy, sparkling Stratocaster sound with a vintage-style 6-screw, 6-saddle tremolo bridge. I think most experienced players recognize that the floating tremolo block is a big part of the Stratocaster's signature sound. The strings feed through the backplate and tremolo block, and tension is balanced between the springs that hold the block in place and the strings themselves. This gives it that airy sound quality and almost a subtle built-in reverb. And of course, you can use the screw and tremolo bar to make some pretty cool sounds. I love the Stratocaster's super versatile controls. The volume pot is always within reach of your picking hand for easy volume swells, and the 2 tone knobs give you more precise control. The first handles the neck and middle pickup tones, which tend to allow more treble, and the second handles the bridge, which is by nature more cutting and bright. I like to leave that one dialed back a bit compared to the other so that I don't need to do it on the fly when I switch to the bridge position. The headstock is the classic Strat 6-in-line with the spaghetti-style Fender logo. Its vintage-style classic gear tuning machines use the venerable and ingenious split-shaft design where you simply stick the end of the string straight down into the hole, give it a 90-degree bend through one side of the shaft, and tighten it up to tune. These tuner shafts have staggered heights, so each string has the optimum behind-the-nut string angle for proper tension. The trio of Coastline 57 single-coil pickups are slightly overwound, according to Fender, which gives them a slightly higher output and warmth for a Strat. That makes it easy to dial in a substantial Strat bite when you switch to the bridge position. Jerry Garcia-like clarity on the middle pickup and glassy sparkle in the neck position. And of course, you can get the distinctive Strat quack immortalized by players like Mark Knopfler and Leonard Skinner's Ed King, when you combine the middle pickup with either the bridge or neck pickup in positions 2 and 4. The bridge tone features Fender's Greasebucket system, which still cuts high frequencies like a traditional tone circuit, but doesn't completely squelch all treble. In practice, that means you can still get a usable tone even when you roll the tone knob all the way down. Let's see how this Stratocaster sounds. This is a really nice Stratocaster. It'll do everything a Strat should do and then some, thanks to the 57 Coastline pickups and the Greasebucket tone circuit. And if the past is any guide, this guitar could outlive you and hold or increase its value over time. It comes with a deluxe gig bag with 3 pockets for your cables, strap, extra strings, cheat sheets, and what have you, and it has comfortable shoulder straps so you can throw it on your back, grab your amp, and get to the gig. If you like this Strat but wish it skewed a bit more modern in terms of features, you should check out the American Professional 2, which has a sculpted neck heel, a super smooth 2-point tremolo bridge, and special electronics with a push-push switch on the bridge tone knob that turns on the neck pickup in positions 1 and 2, which means you can approximate a chirpy Telecaster neck and bridge tone and run all 3 pickups plus some other modern touches. If you want a more faithful vintage reproduction, you'll want to consider the American Vintage 2 Stratocaster, which replicates classic 1954, 57, 61, 65, and 73 models. Those were great years for the Strat. In my opinion, this American Pro Classic sits in a pretty sweet spot for what I look for in a great Strat. Great value, specs, and sound, with a build quality that I know will stand the test of time. That wraps up our look at the American Professional Classic Stratocaster, but if you have questions about anything we've covered or anything we didn't, or if you want to learn more about other Stratocaster options or other Fender guitars, get in touch with us here at Crutchfield today.